So our target today is for students to analyze how two different perspectives can sway a person's thinking, a society's thinking, or a group's thinking. You are going to understand how different perceptions of inequalities and injustices exist. Also, I want you to note your Thursday article of the week this week is on News ELA. It's already set up there for you to read. It is War, Poverty, and Greed Keeps Millions Enslaved. So while we're talking about the American Civil War and slavery being a big part of that, it is still happening in our world. So I want you to relate this article to what we're reading, and you're going to go ahead and do your one-page summary for Thursday on different perceptions of inequalities and injustices and how they exist. Any questions there? Great. Continue doing your reading and continue studying your word parts. So we've got a new Greek and Latin word part today. Yeah.
It's through Thursday?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, in your groups and in your table teams, what do you know about these words? You are going to have a 4-part discussion. You don't need to be doing any writing, but you do need to be working in your round robin. What do you know about these words? Where have you seen these words used in our daily life? What do these words seem to have in common? And what words could you add to this list and why? You will have 2 minutes. You probably won't need all of that time. Start off with number 1, which is set up in the corner for the clock, and move your way around in 30-second increments. Sam?
You said we're not reading, correct?
No, you're having a discussion.
Okay.
Any other questions? Come back. Good question. All right, ready? Begin.
Okay.
I
know these words like, I know sensation, I know that word.
What do you know about it?
What I know about it is like a feeling, you get like when you go on a roller coaster, you go down the ride, that's like a adrenaline sensation. I don't know, sentiment. I don't know what that word really means.
Okay, Caroline.
Where have you seen these words used in your daily life? Well, on the plane they say descent.
Yeah.
Like during descent, I think that's what they say.
Like with
You may
descending.
experience, so whatever.
Yeah. Hey, what
But
about
I think it's like feeling. Or no, descent is leaving.
What do the words have to seem to have in common? The word part sense or sense.
I know what consent means because like you have to get someone's consent before you like
Someone's opinion.
like someone's agreement.
What other words could be added to the list and why? I don't really know that could be added. I don't really know any other words.
Consentment?
I don't think they
I don't know what that means.
maybe puissance.
Yeah. I think it's like showing something is what the word is. Or like feelings or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because descent is like
Dude,
away from.
the camera's on.
Is everybody almost done? Yeah. All right. So remember when you're doing the thinking behind this, we want deep thinking. All right? Not all that they have suffixes or not that they have prefixes. You want to dig deep. So don't forget to do that in your groups. All right. You actually have a choice between a few definitions. I want you in your group, each one of you, to read the definition out loud to your peers. I want you to choose 2 or 3 of those definitions to write down in your book. And I also want your group to determine what you think the word part is for this week. Are you ready? The person with the closest birthday today gets to go first, and then work around the team.
I'm older.
October, so I'm like
But you
April.
got this. So I picked what we do. I say cinnamon. Oh, what?
you just read off the definition.
Cinnamon, an option or feeling you have about something.
I think we were.
Do I read them all?
No, just one.
Yeah, I can get us some.
Dissent is to disagree with an official decision or accepted opinion.
Sensation is a feeling that you get from one of your 5 senses, especially the sense of touch.
And consent is to give your permission for something or agree to do something.
Resent is to feel angry or upset about a situation or about something that someone has done, especially because you think that it is not fair.
I think resent and sentiment are both about feelings.
I think they are, yeah.
I think they all kind of are. It's like you're showing your
Yeah.
feelings about something.
Like a feeling or opinion,
Yeah.
like that.
Like
That's about
approval.
like decision, opinion. That's feeling, opinion.
But it's a horrible picture.
I don't know.
Is that a girl or a guy on the bottom?
Both. The young little girl.
That's a girl?
Since when do you ever see a guy with a skirt on?
Oh. In Ireland.
Like killed.
All right, Miguel, after you've done all your research, what are you going to say this word part is going to be connected to?
Well, I'm just gonna go with like the senses, like touch. No, not touch. I don't know why I said that. My research is inconclusive.
Miguel, your research is never inconclusive. Olivia?
Okay, so Harude and I said the word part was sent, and it means like opinion or feeling.
Kendall agrees with you, I think. Sam?
I had EN for the word part, and I think it's like an opinion or feeling also.
Anybody else? You ready? All right. There you go.
I was right.
Nice job. So record your word part in your meeting, and then we're done with word parts for today. Which means we are up to, I believe, our next song presentation for our research. Alex is going to go.
Oh yeah.
Sarah, I'd be happy to have you go tomorrow if that works for you. Is that all right? We have quite a few left. All right, so as you wrap that up, Alex is going to get ready for his song.
Just saying, make it all, don't make it awkward, and you did
Will you
great.
take a lyric page for your table and pass them out to everybody's table?
I think these are playing.
Whatever's extra, just put up your phone.
There you go.
All right, Alex, you gotta go this way to set up on the mat. All right. Who are running it? No thanks.
Pretty sure we've been running into the next one time.
My sister's kindergarten.
Nice song.
Write your name.
Make sure to turn off this.
I'm gonna go talk.
Hit the pause button. All right, as a group, your responsibility after you listen to the song is to make sure you are going to analyze it together. So, with your Library of Congress sheet on thinking about songs, you are going to look at the song, you're going to respond to the music and the lyrics, and then you are going to think about how it relates to our content and the history of the United States.
It says 400 views.
All right, this group has a quick explanation of why they chose the song they did and how it relates to our theme.
It's a couch.
It's a couch.
No, I said coach.
It's a couch.
I said coach. What's up with the screen?
Alright, that was called Two Sides to a Story. It's originally by Willie Nelson, but that was a cover, so. Well, we chose the song because it was like, we thought it was like kind of two sides of like a relationship. It was like
the girl like wanted to stay with the guy, but he was kind of like wanted to end it off, and so she was like trying to like say that she was really sad and she still wanted to be with him. For the lyrics, we said that he left her and she wanted him back. For the music, we said it was kind of like a medium speed, and it was kind of catchy, and it kind of like made it less sad. Otherwise, without the music, it would have been like really depressing song. We thought kind of like a personal reaction to the lyrics that she was kind of like needy. She didn't seem like a very good person.
If you're done, yes, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
All right, I would like for you to not analyze the illustration column, but I want for you to look at lyrics and music in your group. You've got 2 minutes to do a group analysis and jot down your thoughts about the work that they chose.
Okay, so for the lyrics, what people, places, and events were mentioned?
It was, to me, it was him just saying what, like, every story needs two sides, and that's all I really heard. And I didn't hear anything about a relationship and or she wanting him and he wanting to leave. I didn't hear that. But so what places and events are mentioned? People and events. He wants to break up with her, but she doesn't want to, like. What did you notice about the music? Catchy. I didn't find it catchy. That's how you, like, it's like catchy and slow. It's like two sides of the story. Everyone needs, yeah, okay. What personal reaction to the lyrics? I'm going to say that it was kind of just talking about two sides of the story, nothing else.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't really understand it that much, so I don't really have any
lyrics to go by, which would have been.
I didn't really have any reactions because I couldn't really understand. So,
what emotions might the song produce when sung or played? Well, depending on what person you are, if you were like.
people might not realize that this song is sad because of the music. Because of the upbeat, well, not really upbeat,
So,
but like.
make confuse people?
Yeah.
Well, if we didn't really like it, we were just saying what we thought.
Then, when you've got that chance to talk about the music, you can always clean up bottom part.
It's kind of dark.
Yeah.
Not like
So maybe, in particular, you want to say something about the lyrics.
Boring.
What about the bottom part?
Why do you think the artist wrote this song?
maybe because he was in like a difficult relationship.
Difficult.
Messed up one.
Domestic abuse.
You can always have the other side.
For what audience was the song written for?
People in relationships.
People who have trouble relationships.
Trouble, yeah.
Trouble.
That sounds good. I like that.
Why is the music important to the song? Because it makes it happier.
Sets the mood. Yeah.
They can go for any song. Sets the mood.
And What does this song tell you about what life was like during this period in history?
It's not about history, but
Maybe that it was
maybe
emotionally fragile.
sure.
Fragile?
The tune kind of sounded like they were like the olden times.
That's the adult
Put your group names on this.
I hope they love our honest opinion. And sometimes I could just talk about every story needs two sides, didn't actually have two sides. That's what I realized. But they love it.
Happy opposite day.
As you're finishing this up, I want each of you to reflect on stating one observation. So figure out what your group's one observation will be, and 3 of you will be reporting out.
So what was our observation? The song was about
Trouble relationship, going through tough times.
Troubled pair.
Tough universe.
But everybody's gonna say
Tara, troubled pair of individuals.
Decided in looking at
They think they
pair
have
of
one
individuals.
This is really dull.
That was not deep enough for me. So try to dig a little deeper than using 5. It doesn't mean anything.
That's our signature quote.
Then you need to reframe that. Not deep thinking, is it? It's about as much as saying that was really, really good. It doesn't mean anything.
Can we explain why we like it?
That would be much
They're like, because it's sad. I like when things are because the music, because like the beat.
Cut it out.
He said if we're gonna do this, we're gonna have no exams.
All right, let's take a look at those groups reporting out. And first on the hot seat is table 3.
I was saying there's a couple
Person
initials.
number 3.
All right, what do I share? Which one do I share? Can I share the music part?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the stuff that we noticed, it was kind of like.
I'm looking for respectful listening from the rest of the audience. And Sam, you need to stand up.
Stand up, buddy.
Alright. Something that we thought about the music, it was slow and kind of dull. It wasn't really catchy, and it sounds kind of like Hawaiian music, in a way. It was, for me, in my opinion, it was born on a level like, where it's just kind of like really slow, and I don't really like slow, like more like the upbeat kind of stuff. And it was a little bit sad, I guess you could say, because they said it was about a relationship. And then, we love the vibe. Because it was like the beat was good, like the beat was happy, but then the overall like the lyrics were that happy. Like the
I
lyrics.
sense a little bit of a contradiction in that statement. It's dull and we don't like it, but we do like it and it's upbeat.
That's
I think
different.
we need to reframe
Like we
that
like
a
the
little
beat,
bit.
but you don't like the lyrics.
No, we don't like table 9.
We love the
Person number 3.
Sorry, you're not gonna.
Oh, sorry.
We'll choose someone else to report from your group. Okay. You're a team. You can make those decisions.
Should I do the lyrics? Or...
You may choose whatever you wish to share.
I'm gonna do the music. We thought it was slow. It was kind of catchy, not really. We weren't sure. And it was a country. We thought that it was a country song. And the emotion that we thought it was sadness. Showed that she was sad.
Thank you very much. Table 5.
Okay, so we said that the song made you feel like sad and sleepy, and then like it was about like a boy and a girl, and like you couldn't really hear it, like cause like the overall like the singer was very like dull, so you almost like couldn't hear like the lyrics, and we said it was slow and country.
I sense the overall feeling. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. This is not one of your favorite choices. Okay, here's my question to you. Did you really listen to the lyrics, or did the music... Did the music stop you from attending to the lyrics?
Yeah.
Thank you. This is probably the first time you've run across a song that has impacted you so negatively. And I'm surprised by the fact that because you didn't like the music, you just kind of shut it down altogether. So the message in that song is a little bit lost because you didn't have the lyrics in front of you as well. So think about that, the power of music in addition to the power of a lyric. All right, we are going to shift gears.
We don't want
Thank you very much for that opinion. We are still going to shift gears. We are going to read chapter 7 of Boys' Ward. Now, you started chapter 1 on Thursday, and you had these young, passionate people really ready to answer the call of Abraham Lincoln and join in to the conflict. Chapter 7 is entitled Changes. Now, in this text, you are going to analyze and determine the perspectives the same way that you did before. But just by the sheer title of this chapter, you should be finding out different information. All right, so chapter 7, changes. Be looking for and annotating personal perspectives that are revealed in the text. As you partner read the text, annotate for vocabulary words that are confusing you. And I will be very honest in telling you, I had to look up several words. So if you don't tell me that you're struggling with vocabulary, I think you're going to be lying to me.
What if we're really smart?
I don't know. We'll have to see. You can always look vocabulary words up if you have your technology with you. Use it. If you don't, you know there's dictionaries in the back of the room behind the lovely Essence. After you read, we're going to be doing a 20-minute Socratic seminar in our traditional layout. So you may partner read. I expect this text to be done by 5.
Okay, I don't know what analytical means, so...
John Doheny and his ligament has been positioned on a slight rise on the land near a cornfield when he spotted Union forces moving closer in the field below us. The enemy artillery were cautiously approaching, crouching low as they advanced behind the what does that say?
Undulating.
Would you say a G in this?
Undulating. I said undulating.
You said undulating. Okay. Tracks in the rich meadows through which they are passing. From the numbers of their flags, which are distinctly visible above the rising ground, we judge them to be at least 2,000 in number.
The Confederate artillery opens fire, and this halts the charge for a while. Then the Union cannons return the fire, destroying all the Confederate cannons and sending the troops into action again. Doheny picks up the story. The Yankees, finding no batteries opposing them, approach closer and closer, covering down as near to the ground as possible. While we keep up a pretty warm fire by file upon them as they advance. Now they are at the last elevation of rising ground when they rise up and make a charge for our fronts. This is like intense. Well, so now it's starting to change. Like now that people are dying, I don't think people are so excited to fight in the Civil War anymore.
This is annihilated.
What?
This is annihilated.
What does that mean?
Like you just got destroyed.
Oh, okay.
Fighting against Caleb. Some idea of what this fighting might have been. John Doheny and his Raymond regimen has been positioned at a slight rise of the land near cornfield when spotted Union forces moving closer. In the field below us, the enemy are slowly but cautiously approaching, crouching low as they advance behind the undulating tracks in the rich meadows through which they are passing. From the numbers of their flags, which are distinctly visible above the rising ground, we judge them to be at least 2,000 in number. The Confederate artillery opens fire and halts the charge for a while. When the Union cannons return their fire, destroying all of the Confederate cannons, send their troops into action again. Delahany picks up his story. The Yankees, finding no batteries opposing them, approach closer and closer, powering down as near to the ground as possible, while we keep up a pretty warm fire but file upon them as they advance. Now they are at the last elevation of rising ground when they rise up and make a charge for offense.
I'm going to stop you there. You guys have read about a page and a half. I have noticed several vocabulary words that I'm not seeing either one of you write down.
I wrote down one.
I noticed that right when I sat down, Andrew, and that was great. Also, I noticed somebody's perspective has been given, and you're not questioning or looking or identifying that. So when you read and annotate, what part's missing? When I have you annotate an article, what is it that you're doing?
I'm looking for like our theme or like main ideas and perspectives.
Excellent.
I'm also looking for words that I don't know.
Excellent, Andrew. So I need you to do that with this. So don't just keep going. Make sure you back up and discuss. All right? Mm-hmm. And maybe whoever's reading, the power is in the other person to help do the annotating. But you want to make sure you stop and pause because you've already got a great perspective here. The first thing I noticed was 2,000 people in number are coming toward you. That's like two groups of people that are the size of skulls. So if we took every child in this building and lined them up
with guns,
can you get an image in your head of what that might look like?
Yeah.
Okay, and then they're talking about walking. Their flags are visible above the rising ground. So they're literally just walking towards each other. It's not a style of fighting you do anymore, is it? All right, so keep going, but make sure you're stopping and pausing and looking for people and what they're telling you about.
Is the reason we don't do that anymore because we have guns that can shoot farther and it doesn't really matter anymore? You don't have to get close.
Do you think it would be harder to kill someone you can see? Or is it easier to push a button and kill somebody that you don't see?
Someone you can see. But now we have scopes and stuff.
Kind of interesting. Okay, you guys keep going.
Where are you at? Should we get a dictionary? To look like
of 2 years have uncovered many of the shallow graves, bony knees, long toes, grinning skulls are to be seen in all directions. In one place I saw a man's boot protruding from the grave, and the stitches had rotted, and the sole of the shoe worked downwards while the upper had curled upward, leaving the skeleton toes pointing to a land where there is no water. That's pretty gross.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, just appeared out of nowhere.
Where are your annotations?
I was just catching up.
Right here.
Okay, good. Excellent. And I saw that you kind of slowed down over the word protruding.
Mm-hmm.
And did anybody have any help for what that might mean?
Oh, I know. It's like something is peeking or like going away that it's not supposed to.
Okay.
Just got a brain dead.
So what is protruding and where's it coming from?
It's coming from the ground.
From a grave. That's supposed to be a dead person.
Like the boot is like coming out of the grave, I guess.
So they're walking over, listen to what they've noticed. We've passed over the old battlefield of Manassas. The rains of 2 years have uncovered many of the shallow graves.
You don't know what work means?
But maybe you can help her with that.
I'm pretty sure it means like, I'm pretty sure like comes together, like, not goes together, but like, you know, like, mixes, I think, right?
Okay.
I think.
So you've got the man's boot protruding from the grave.
Is Manassas a word or like a city?
It's a place.
Sorry, I can't write that down.
Okay. Living every day with so much death and mutilation took a profound emotional toll on these boys. Where it might have stunned them before, made them physically ill, and stirred longings for the safety of home, now they turned off those feelings. They rarely dwelt on encounters with death for long and instead ignored them in order to get on with other things. Galway ends his journey through the Manassas battlefield with horrid sights are to an old soldier horrid no longer. Toward evening we okay, near Gainesville.
Good self-correction there. It's a very powerful statement there if you're looking at perspective.
I don't know what that word means.
I don't know what.
Okay.
I don't even know.
It isn't hard to imagine why they acted like this. They had joined the army with friends and neighbors, and through shared experience, created a new family. But as they were becoming a more unified group, the war was slowly eating away at their numbers. Elijah Stockwell had marched off with 32 others from his town. 2 years later, only 3 of them were still alive. One boy who had taken part in several major battles was called waking just before the Battle of
Antietam.
We are aroused early on the 16th by a shell which exploded over the regimental colors, killing Corporal Farmer and the color bearer. A piece of the shell literally cut him in two. While we cooked our breakfast and chatted as usual, some of the men eaten.
All right, I would say stop there and go back because you have got a lot of things that you could have reflected on that you've missed so far. So I want you to slow down because you've got 10 more minutes. But slow down and really dissect and digest what you're reading because you're getting a snippet, but I don't think you're going in deep enough. Okay?
I don't think that they're really they realize that there's a bunch of dead bodies around them, but they don't really, like, it's not a,
How don't they notice the dead bodies on the ground?
Because they're walking. See how they're just like piled up there?
And they walked over to the battle
Right. And they're just going about their normal routine because they don't really they don't think about it.
I guess when they went with their neighbors and family, so many of them got killed that they came home with not as many people as they went into the war.
This guy lost his arm and his left hand and arm were shattered by an exploding shell, and he's only 12 years old.
And they said that even though the Corporal Farmer was cut in two, they still went along with their daily lives.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Very disgusting to see.
Okay.
Let's Okay. And whose turn is it now? My turn?
Andy.
Such description seems distant and cold to us. How could anyone witness such a horrible scene and go on to eat breakfast so casually? It's important to remember that these boys really were skilled soldiers. They knew that the chance to eat a meal might not come along again soon, especially if the battle turned out to be a large one. And they also knew that they had to think too much about this aspect of the war might distract them and make them less precise and poison the war.
I'm doing Bible.
Still, a sense of sadness creeps into their writing. They knew that there were no longer innocent boys who signed up a great adventure. Private Henry Graves expressed his confusion in this letter. I saw the body of Ben killed the previous day this morning in the horrible sight it was. Such sights do not affect me as they once did. I cannot describe the change, nor do I know when it took effect. Yet I know that there's change, for I look on the hard cast of men with pretty much such feeling as I would do, or if it was a horse ride.
Okay, well, the boys have now lived as a soldier, and so they're not, like at the beginning they were all excited and they were like wanting to sign up for the Civil War, but now that they've seen and lived how it, like,
So make sure.
The purchase of a man with pretty much the same feeling as I do for
So what's the way called again?
Yeah, you've probably seen.
You have 5 minutes left. I want you to make sure that for Socratic Seminar, which is going to start shortly, that you've met the expectations. You have not annotated as you typically do, so I want you to make sure you go back and look for those perspectives. I also want you to make sure you look for those vocabulary words, because when you get in your seminar, that's the chance for you to clear up those misconceptions about the text when you're having that dialogue with your peers. So, when you begin, you are going to open that book up and you are going to start by identifying the text by page number for the rest of the people in the group to make sure they can put eyes on the text. Then you're going to either discuss the section that gave you trouble or the perspective that you noted, allowing everyone an equal voice and making sure all voices are heard. I have also taken 4 text-dependent questions, and I will be putting them up in 5-minute intervals. They will start with chapter 1, because you will start with chapter 1. And then we will move to chapter 7. All right? So I'm going to put the first one up now. If your group ends up being in a place where you're finding it challenging to have the discussion, go to the text-dependent question that we've got on the board. So our first one today is what, Sam?
Why does someone choose to join a conflict with frightening?
That is definitely our essential question. And in the text, we're going to go to what page?
Oh, page 7.
All right, page 7. And what does it say?
When the war actually broke out, it was like a pressure release valve. At last, the country seemed to sigh with relief. Something concrete was finally going to settle this dispute. The result on both sides was an enthusiastic rush to enlist.
All right, so then we've got our question. So you can use that to keep your discussion going. Liza.
This was chapter 7, right?
This is chapter 1. So I became a soldier. That's why it's listed. You'll have 2 questions from 1 and 2 questions from 7. Now your goal is to have a good quality discussion and dig deep in the text with some deeper thinking. Any other questions? I'll be walking around evaluating your groups as you work. All right, begin.
Okay, Alex, can you hear me down there?
Yeah, because it's fine. I have good ears.
Okay, go around this way.
About what? Like why they chose?
Why they enlist?
Why would they choose to?
Okay, so I think they, as it said, wait, where is it?
Page 7.
Maybe.
in that, like, it says how they, like, didn't want to, like, sit around and, like, do, like, the farm work and stuff. I forgot what page it is, but it says
Page
that
7,
there.
I believe. Let's all flip to that page right now.
No, it was on a different page.
It was on a different page.
That we read today.
I don't really know,
page
but page 8.
Yeah, I think.
Well, it talks about how, like, they didn't want to sit around and, like, just do the farm work and do what their parents wanted them to do, so they would all, like, go against their family and, like, like, to go on a, like, an adventure, quote unquote.
What paragraph is that in, Jake?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I see it. Oh, it's on page. It's on like the first page. Actually, I don't know because I think my post-its got mixed up.
And it says it somewhere in this chapter too, though. Did I read the wrong one?
No, you did it right, Karen.
Okay. Okay. Well, and then also, it was kind of sad because a lot of the boys, like, they didn't even, like, feel anything when they saw, like, the dead, like.
Because
it's just because, like,
it happened to them too much. Their body
when
kind
they
of
were, like, so little.
they had it.
They, like, I don't know, I think because they were so young, it was, like, the experience, like, sunk into their head and they thought that was normal.
So then, like when they see it, like a year after that, they're used to it seeing, so they know they don't really react to it as they
Yeah,
would.
they're just like, oh, okay.
Like I know if I saw a dead body and like a leg was like a half mile down and then the head was over there, I'd be like, what the heck?
I'd probably freak out.
I wouldn't just be like, cool, why not?
Yeah.
Make sure while you're having those inferences and you're talking about how that affected you, also make sure you pull up your text. So great start to your discussion.
I actually have a text connection.
Okay.
Text connection. A text connection is there was this one police officer on CNN.
Their life, their way of life would be like would be destroyed. So like you can't take someone's life away, even like they make money. Yeah, I mean like even though it's bad, like it's still wrong to take their life away.
See, what happened was, when they took it away, they had no home, no money, they had no food. So they went back to the slave owners, but not as slaves, but as workers. And they get paid like super little, but they don't get treated as bad.
Yeah, and it kind of relates like to today's society. Like, if you want to join most people they go to the army or the Marines or something because it pays for college and it pays well and stuff like that. And it kind of
they want to go for like that spirit of adventure back then, but now it's like for real reasons, like for college. Like if you need to escape and like you just like you can't live where you live anymore, like you go to the army, and that's kind of how they were too. Cause like someone Miguel was like they said like they wanted like to escape the boring routine of farm life. Yeah. So like that's
And they followed the same routine every day.
So that must get really boring.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of people like going to the army, not just like they want to escape their like whatever, but if they have a problem already, like a mental problem, they might want to go in thinking that it fixes it, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it really
a lot of the time
it's what they chose to do to like get the fun out of it and stuff.
Yeah, and like also these people went in the army like to fight, but like now you can go in the army and not have to do a single piece of fighting.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
do like the technology part of it.
That's why some people they go for like because they pay for your house, they pay for college degrees.
Like that's what my cousin's doing. She's not gonna fight in the army, but like that's probably why. Like if they had that, like a lot of people wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
Okay, so bring that back to your text. You did a great real world connection, but we're looking for perspectives from this particular text, chapter 1 to chapter 7. So take it back to here.
Back on page 8, it also says that one Southern boy made his feelings clear. I'd rather die than become a slave to the North. So I think that the South is kind of like misinterpreting what it wants. The North doesn't want to abolish slavery, they just want to stop it from spreading. That's what Abraham Lincoln said himself, but the South just thinks that
they want it to stop.
If they don't let it spread, then it's going to die out eventually, which is what would happen.
Or maybe the North thought, or the South thought that the North was trying to get rid of how they made money and how their life was, and make their life more difficult.
They're all being like misunderstood. So then like all the kids are like, okay, I'm fighting the war because I hate you. Yeah. Even though they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
Really, all you have to do is just pay the slaves, not the slaves, just like pay people.
Well, yeah, that's American.
And like give black people rights.
Like the kids got like brainwashed.
I have something from chapter 7.
Okay, chapter 7.
And it's on it's like literally the first sentence of chapter 7.
Okay.
It's on page 67. And it says, fighting in war changes any soldier, but it especially changed the boys who fought in war. When they had enlisted, they were naive, undisciplined, and used to doing farm-related chores. So basically that says
They had no experience.
Yeah, they had no experience in
They
the
didn't know
war.
what they were doing.
They weren't expecting what.
Yeah, they weren't expecting that. They were expecting like, okay, so if I
They were like, I think they were just
oh, okay. So like if I like go take care of some pigs or something or whatever they do for the farm, like you're gonna be expected to like shoot.
Well, that's why in the next sentence it says, given several culturally experience in battle, this would
Yeah, but then some of them.
They turned into them, so they weren't originally. They
Yeah, that like
They were all
back
naive.
to like the question, like what? Oh, it was the one.
They
It
were all,
was
like,
the one
regular
before this.
boys.
But like the kids like. Well, actually, to this question, because it says, what does expressly banned mean? How are the boys able to join the army even though there was a ban? What textual evidence support this? Well, they would lie about their age because there's absolutely no way. There was no way to figure it out, and it says it in here. There's no way to figure it out. There are no records, nothing.
Oh, the summer and one.
Oh yeah, each side had recruitment rules that expressly banned boys from joining and fighting. At the start of the war, for instance, the Union held that it had to be at least 18 years old. In spite of this, a tall 14 or 15-year-old could easily blend into a crowd of men and slip through in hurry to form a unit. And those questions about their age might be able to bluff their way past a wary recruiting surgeon. And like, and then anyway, how would a recruiter check an applicant's facts?
Yeah, because at that time the boys.
Because page 66 they have this picture of this kid, and I just think that there's absolutely no possible way that kid could castrated.
Yeah, they weren't like, they didn't like, even in, remember guys, that picture that Miss Azrich showed us and we had to like discuss, the boy didn't even fit in with his father. Like, I'm like, how old is he? He looks about, like 14.
Yeah.
13. He looks 9, and I'm like, so how could they really accept?
I don't know if they really even like. I don't think it was a strict.
Because like now there's
like
like millions of ways to check.
Yeah.
They were all supposed to be 18 to get in the war, but even like
They could train us.
there was
If you were drummer, then you could get it unless they're like 50. But they snuck in and
they lied.
they snuck in and lied either way.
Yeah, because they're like no technology.
Okay, well, how stupid can you be to let an 8-year-old join the war? Yeah, I'm 18 years old. Hey, man.
No, they were 8. They were like teenagers, like our age.
But look at the one on the cover. Oh, he's probably jumping more younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like these were considered non-fighting positions, so recruiters often let a boy to sign on without worrying about his age.
The one on
I
page
like that you
9,
went back to the text for that. That was excellent.
the picture on page 9, I would believe that guy was 18. Like at least one of them.
No,
Like,
I'd
it
say
would
he's
be
like 14,
easiest way
15.
Page 9?
Wait, which one? The one standing up or sitting down?
And on page 7 you can tell that one of
You
them is
could at
gonna
least.
be.
He's 9.
You could have a little bit of looks, but
He was
The
like
guy sitting down looks 18.
It was just kind of weird that it says that they kind of just guessed. They were like, because there was.
there was no history. There was no history. They didn't have ID.
So when you go back and you're making inferences
I'm going.
I'm going.
by looking at pictures and making a judgment, do you have evidence of their age by looking at the photograph?
It says right there. It says.
there's captions.
It says 16-year-old boy Edwin Francis Jensen was a young private.
So when you're having a discussion,
There was a 16-year-old private. It's just, does that mean like general? Think that through. Well, they're not just like in the war, like they're actually so like they're like a general or something.
where's that?
Kind of.
well, a private, you'd be part of a regiment,
Yeah.
and you would have somebody that was telling you what to do and when to do
Where's the
it. So if you're
16-year-old
just
boy?
an enlisted
Is that
person,
chapter
you're a
7?
private.
No, it's at page 12. And
But what does the text evidence tell you about the fact that people are enlisting that aren't of age?
that they
They're like
are
giving
cool.
away the rest of their lives.
Where's the text evidence that says and lets you know that
There isn't any. You're making inferences.
you're not making inferences? You made
It
an
says it in
inference
the
about the
exam.
picture, but there's
Where?
evidence in the text about who's joining and how they're getting in.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it says, wait, on page 11 it says, when the recruitment officer asked his age, and I told him the truth. I am 16 years next June, I said. The officer ordered me out of line, and my father, who was behind me, stepped to the table. He can work as steady as any man, my father explained, and he can shoot as straight as any who has been signed today. I am the boy's father. It must have been the words he said, because the officer handed me the pen and ordered me to sign here. So that's all they needed. That's all they needed.
Just a dad to say the bad day.
That's all they needed.
What if for a parent to say they had a good shot and then they were a good person?
Yeah, so I guess, I don't know, like, I think they
Even like
needed
just
a lot of
a random
they just
person
needed
and be
people,
like, act like you're my dad and say
yeah.
nice things about me.
I think a lot of people need a lot of people in the Civil War, and so
think they're
they were
kinda-
just taking in
yeah,
people
they're
as
kinda
much
like
as they could get.
desperate.
And the government only told them they could have people of 18, so they were trying to like go to that, but at the same time, if anyone like had the chance of getting in, they would get them in anyway.
Because they were
needed
desperate,
people.
yeah.
And on
They're
page
desperate.
10, it says by far the easiest way to boys to slip into the army was as a musician, especially a drummer, which means they could like just learn how to play the drum and they'd be in, and then they could like there's a possibility they'd see more.
I know. I think they just want to like
Who
be a
hasn't shared
man.
yet?
I think they just want to like I don't know. I don't even know.
Raise your hand if you haven't shared.
Not everybody has shared.
I know you haven't. I know you haven't. All you have to share.
She shared.
Matt, what do you have to say?
Oh guys, there's another question up.
We're starting with Matt. Matt, go.
Okay, for the one question, like how they join war, I think it's just because like they'll do anything to get away from like working and doing chores, but they don't really know what they're gonna face if they actually go into
Revna?
I think Dad became a soldier because Dad forced him to. Which one? Which one?
The one on page 11 that Kylie talked about.
We have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to ask everyone to focus on the last question for all of your groups and give you a few moments to have that discussion before we break apart today. On page 73, The Boys' War. What does the author mean when he writes, living every day with so much death and mutilation took a profound emotional toll on these boys? In your groups, I want you to look for your textual evidence that shows you how hard this change was from becoming a soldier to chapter 7 and change. And you're going to get about a minute and a half. Go.
Okay. Like about like that sentence, like you know the therapy thing that's kind of it says like
yeah.
They might have been stunned before, but now it's started longing for safety at home. So like made them so like emotional that they like really wanted to go home.
Chelsea, what do you have to say?
I guess to say coincides to an also toward no more towards equality. I thought this was saying kind of like how like after the war we kind of really used to it, like all things like death and everyone like home and stuff. And so
I'll
Jake.
go.
Okay, you go.
Or after Jake.
Yeah, Jake. Do you want Jake? Here you go. What's your stuff for 68? What do you have to say?
The thing that's up on the board, it kind of shows like how they might have like PTSD ideas because it shows like how they have like emotional goals and stuff.
Also, okay, never mind.
No, you can go.
No, Kylie, you can go.
Well, as Kendall said, they got made them physically ill, not just like emotionally, because I think all like the bodies and stuff like made them have post-traumatic stress disorder, you know what I mean? Because they kind of, I think, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I think they, I don't think they were the same person when they got away from the war. They weren't just like a boy like looking for an adventure. They were more like a soldier. They weren't the same. They just, I think it was like, I don't know, it was like normal for them to see like the bodies and stuff, so they were having like trouble, I think, when they got back home.
Because like you can't like when you're doing it, you never really think of it after it happens. But then like when you're all done and you're so down with it, it starts to like really hit you like what happened.
Yeah, like it was actually happening. What?
I love the vibe of it.
We are quickly running out of time. The few observations that your group members have, will you please finish filling out your sheet and we'll discuss those tomorrow when we regroup. I want to reflect on two things today. You are becoming so much stronger about vocalizing your textual evidence and using that in your conversation. The one thing I would like for us to work on going forward is making sure all voices are heard. We have naturally comfortable people that like talking and are willing to share, but we have just as many equally brilliant students that are quieter and need to be prompted to share their voice. So when we work on this going forward, let's make sure we're equitable and letting every voice be heard.